Hello, thank you for joining us on Husky News. My name is Duncan King. Recently, grade 9s have had vocational programs removed. Here's Carson with more.
Sturgeon Heights has been experiencing major cutbacks in the grade 9 vocational programs. This means that grade 9s can't take the courses that they could last year. This is causing problems for both students and teachers.
Fundings were really important, and I really enjoyed it last year, and it's really disheartening that they cut it, and the grade 9s this year don't get a say in it, and they don't get to do it. The cutbacks are pretty substantial just because they're learning grade 10 stuff and they're missing all the grade 9 material.
I don't think that would be very fair, considering that we're the future of the school. Definitely think that it could affect the future kids coming to the school because they might not have the same knowledge that the grade 12s this year would have in grade 9.
I think that by limiting student options in grade 9, it's going to give them less chance to kind of explore what they maybe really want to do. So it will kind of limit them in the long run. Now my classes are like a grade 9-10 split for the most part. I got probably 50% grade 9s and 10s, like an even split in my class. And it makes it tough because some kids took it last year, so they know all the stuff, and then others have no clue. But I think that's only going to be for this first year. Then after that, everybody's going to kind of be on the same page. So,
For the loss of these programs, this means fewer opportunity and less choice. This has been Dylan Watson for Husky News.
Student parking has often been a contentious issue at Sturgeon Heights, and this year, administration is looking to crack down on that. Here's Eric with more.
I'm currently standing here at the Sturgeon Heights Collegiate student parking lot, which allows students to park their vehicles reliably and conveniently for their busy school day. But recently, this lot has become more of a hassle than a convenience for much of the school's population. Students say the main issue they have with the parking lot is the difficulties they face when they try to enter or exit.
Quite full a lot of the times. Like it sometimes takes a while to get out after school, especially after school at 3:30 because there's a long line. Everybody's trying to get out at the same time. It can be time consuming.
The line in the morning to get in it is really terrible. One time I was driving to school and I was making good time, but then the line to get into the parking lot, like when you're turning left off of Ness, it took me like 10 to 15 minutes just to get through the line.
Only issue with the student parking lot is when you're leaving at the very end of the day, the line for getting out of the parking lot can be kind of horrendous.
To park here, a student is required to purchase a $20 parking pass and display it at all times. But getting one of these passes is proving to be a challenge for some.
It's kind of a pain to buy because last year I had my driver's license, but they sold out so fast that I couldn't get one because I got past my road test in like November and they were just already sold out. So that's one downside.
While students see this overpopulation as a problem, administration believes everything is running smoothly.
I don't think it's overpopulated because we regulate how many students can park in it. We have it sold out at this time.
Even with the convenience of being able to park on school grounds, the overpopulation of vehicles and the unavailability of parking passes is making many students' daily commute way more frustrating than it ever should be. With no plans from administration, it seems like students will have to bear this inconvenience for the foreseeable future. This is Eric Rosler-Yu, reporting for Husky News.
Pros vs. Joes is a staple at Sturgeon Heights Collegiate, and this year is no different. With Pros vs. Joes coming up fast, the hype has never been bigger. Students are ready to show their school spirit in support of Sam's Christmas and Project Echo.
Pros vs. Joes is to raise money for Winnipeg families in need at Christmas time. The charity is Project Echo. One of the things they do every year is help us with the hampers. So it is a big part of our school. It's part of kind of like in the month of December, it's part of the culture around here. So many people are raising money for these families in need. Pros vs. Joes takes place this year, December 3rd to 7th. It's every day, Monday to Friday, at the lunchtime for 1 hour. It costs $2 admission to get in, and all money paid at the door goes towards the families.
This school year, the phys ed options have taken quite a turn. Here's Drew with the rundown.
This is Drew DeCourt on the scene of the phys ed teacher's room. Today we are investigating online phys ed and how people cheat at it. We go live into their room.
It's done online for the health components, and the 75 hours is done by the student doing physical activity to a moderate to vigorous level. Now, some of the negatives are it is a lot of it, especially the 75 hours, done on the honor system, meaning that have you actually done your 75 hours yourself, or have you fudged and made up things and your parents have signed off on something you actually didn't do? If Sturgeon Heights Collegiate had a second gym, we would be able to accommodate every student in the school. By Manitoba curriculum, you must graduate with 4 credits of physical activity. So you must have one in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. If you want to get a grad certificate at the end of the school year, you must have 4 credits of phys ed. So since it's already something that's mandatory, and we have such a large population, we're just under 1,300 students, it is physically impossible for us to teach every single kid in the school so that they can gain their phys ed credit in-house, in the school, on our gym floor. We only have one gym. For us to teach everybody and do this properly where it's monitored, we would need a second gym that needs to be built. You've got 2 schools in the division. You've got John Taylor and you've got St. James Collegiate, both having 2 gyms with a much smaller population, so they can accommodate all grades of the students in phys ed.
And that happens to conclude our story on online phys ed. I am Drew DeCourt from Husky News. Back to you, Duncan.
Phys ed and football are 2 sides of the same coin, and this year, Sturgeon Heights has no shortage of football craze. Here's Carter with more.
Huskies have faced many challenges this year, such as a small roster as well as injuries, but the team has bounced back from these injuries with the help of the team captains as well as head coach Eric Vincent.
Has the team been living up to its full potential this season? If not, what do they need to do to improve?
I don't think our team's lived up to the full potential, as a team can always do better, but we have had a lot of problems due to attendance and personnel issues, but our team has improved a lot with our younger players stepping up to bigger roles.
What is a normal process you guys will go through weekly in order to prepare for game day?
Well, every day a week we have 3-hour practices along with lunch meetings and morning workouts, and we also add in study hall because our coach always likes to point out that school comes before athletics.
Last year, the Huskies lost key players such as Simon Wizdes and Brock Gutowski. This year, the Huskies are looking for new players to step up and fulfill the leadership roles. How do you feel about the team's season so far, and what needs to change to better the team for the rest of the season?
I wish I could say that we've had a wonderful season so far, but to be honest, things have been a little challenging. We've lost a couple of really tough games to some opponents that we definitely could have beaten, and as the season goes on, that's going to affect us in our playoff standing. I think the biggest thing for us moving forward is we've learned from our mistakes, and we need to identify and move on. In terms of penalties and execution, we've had games where we've played really, really well, but between penalties and turnovers, that's what's hurt us the most.
What are some of the most important things you hope the kids learn from the Huskies football program?
I think the biggest thing we want the players to take away is kind of the life lessons that they're going to work through and learn throughout the season. If we look at this season in a nutshell, these kids have had to go through a lot of adversity. We've got people that are playing through injury. We've got people that are stepping up and accepting a role for the greater good of the team that might be at a different position. It might be a younger player stepping into a key starting role. But I think for a lot of these players, these are some valuable life lessons that will help them quite a bit in the future. They're going to come up against some adversity in their adult life. And I think that some of the things that they go through, the trials, the tribulations, as well as the successes with their team, will inevitably help prepare them for the real world outside of high school.
Getting into the postseason, we will have to see if the low player count and high injuries will affect the team's performance and if the Huskies leaders, as well as Coach Vincent, can overcome these challenges.
There have been quite a few changes to classes at Sturgeon Heights this year. Here's Carson with the latest.
Courses cut, students missing credits, faculty members being here one year then not being the next. What's going on at Sturgeon Heights Collegiate?
Well, actually right now I'm working on physics in English, and I try to take it in French, but not enough people join the class. So yeah, I can't take it in French anymore.
Multiple courses have been cut this year due to poor enrollment and certain teachers leaving.
Some reasons why certain classes are canceled because either when students do registrations in February, when they pick the classes, students don't pick those classes. They pick others. So then other classes are just overly full, or there's like 4 sections of one type of class. And then what usually happens is students come in the end of August trying to change their timetable and they want to pick up another class. But if in February students don't pick the courses that they want, then that class isn't offered the following year. So it's sometimes due to numbers, and then sometimes it's due to other options. You know, some teachers come up with other options for students, and the students like those classes, so they take those.
Many students have been displeased with this year's course cancellations due to signing up for said courses during last year's registration.
I was enrolled in the Cinema as a Witness to Modern History course, and I was very excited to perform it. But unfortunately, the teacher got moved to a different class. So that course just got straight up pulled out from under my feet, which is very disappointing because I was really wanted to participate in that.
This year, surprisingly, we had world religion not run for the first time since I've been here. It could do with the fact that the province changed the course and made it a grade 12 course as opposed to a grade 11 course. Or it could just be that people didn't know much about it and the course didn't run. So that was a surprising one for us. I know the English department has tried run some creative writing courses, again at the grade 12 level, but those courses were under-chosen and we were unable to run them this year.
Some people's credits hang in the balance this year. Will some of these changes to the curriculum affect the students of Sturgeon Heights Collegiate?
Even though it is prohibited at Sturgeon Heights, smoking and vaping is still a very large problem at the school. Here's Daniel with the scoop.
Thanks, Duncan. With the school year well underway, some of the school rules have gone up in smoke. One major issue this school year has been the rise in vaping on school property. It is clearly stated that vaping and smoking on school property is prohibited, yet students still continue to do so.
It really sucks because I can't feed my addiction throughout the day, and it's just like it's preventing me from learning because I'm so addicted.
Compared to regular cigarettes, the use of vapes is nearly double in high school students. E-cigarette product manufacturers don't have to report ingredients, so consumers don't really know what's in them.
It was originally for helping people to quit smoking, and then a bunch of teenagers got into it. Became pretty dumb. It just makes people look stupid. I mean, it smells nice, but it's like pointless.
Many students believe e-cigarettes are a helpful tool in quitting smoking, or at least to be used as an alternative. Although the health risks may not be that much better, the rise in vaping has greatly decreased the use of conventional cigarettes.
I think that there's not enough research that's been done right now about vaping. We're still new into this phenomenon, and until we can get full feedback from scientists as far as the long-term effects of vaping, I don't know where things are going to go. I'm not a scientist. I just want kids to be healthy for a long time. When kids are pulling out their vapes in classroom, teachers are supposed to be, and I expect they are, telling students put that away, now's not the time. When we're catching kids who are vaping when they should be in class, part of it is talking to them, part of it is referring them to counseling, calling parents. And in the few cases where we've had kids who are vaping in school, we confiscate the vape. There's times there's community service, there's times there's suspensions. If anything, we'd rather talk to the kids about, hey, I'd rather you don't do it, but if you have to do it on your own time, not on school time. I don't see the government going and banning vapes in the school, but they've forbidden smoking on school property, and their provincial document specifically says that vaping is considered to be equivalent to smoking.
Despite the rules treating vaping no differently as any other tobacco products, students still seem to continue to break these rules. We can certainly expect to see stricter regulations regarding this topic as time progresses. But until then, this certainly is a hazy situation. Back to you, Duncan.
Thank you for watching. For Husky News, I'm Duncan King.